want a second look.
Yeah, there's something about this one, isn't there? Familiar somehow.
We think we're stuck in a specific fragment in time, and we've been repeating that same fragment over and over again.
But the flirting's over, Sherlock. Daddy's had enough now.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, TV Reviews and Connections in Mind. The Mandalorian Season 2 has finally dropped all of its episodes on Disney+. It is once again helmed by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for the most part, and once again stars Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin / the Mando, the main character of the show, who is ferrying the child, or Baby Yoda as many people have come to know him, and is trying to find a Jedi who can train him his own kind. And this is his quest that he has been tasked by the Guild, and this season follows that saga as once again we see Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito's character, trying to snatch him for his own evil and nefarious purposes, and we also meet some new friends along the way who want to help Mando in his quest to find the Jedi. Now, this is just to get this out of the way, I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts on this season first, but there will be some spoiler talk later on in this video, so just be warned, when I give the spoiler warning, I'll be going from full-on spoilers from then on. But until then, let's get into some spoiler-free thoughts on this latest season of The Mandalorian. What did I think about it? Is it any good? Is it worth tuning in? Is it worth renewing your Disney Plus subscription if you canceled it after that first season? I would say yes. This is Mandalorian is one of those shows where Star Wars, especially in recent days, has had some high highs and some low lows. And this one, I will say, is one that is consistently pretty good. And honestly, as someone who likes, I guess old school is now the term to call it, a more episodic storytelling, where each episode is more or less a contained story. We have an overarching plot, of course, but each story, each week, is its own sort of contained narrative. And yes, each episode will have ramifications going forward, but you could easily pop in one of these episodes and just enjoy it as its own. Or you can jump around to each individual episode. I feel like that's something that is starting to disappear in modern TV, especially with more serialized storytelling becoming more popular as it goes on. And for me, I love that episode. I love the fact that this only dropped once a week. If you want to spread it out, that's fine. But now that all the episodes are out, if you want to binge them all at once, that works great too. This series works well because of its main characters. The chemistry between the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda / the child is just as good as it was last season, considering the fact that for the most part you don't actually see the Mandalorian's face, and but you do get to see Baby Yoda's reaction to what he is experiencing in this world, and that's really the core of this show, and this season especially, and it just works so well. Also, the guest characters that come on and off as this show goes, such as Gina Carano, Timothy Olyphant, Bill Burr, Ming Nawain, all these things pop up, and this is just going to be, and I feel like this show worked out really well. If I were to give a complaint about this season overall, and I honestly felt this complaint last season as well, is that the runtime of the various episodes is somewhat inconsistent, and longer is fine. It's just when they're a lot shorter, that's when I feel like the weekly model starts to break apart in a way, because if there were a couple episodes this season that were just a little bit over a half hour, And when you have other episodes in this season that are pushing a full hour, like 55 minutes, it feels like you're almost gypped in a way if you're following it in one week to week. But as I said, each episode is more or less a contained story, and while it does work, it is sort of weird that they have to go that route. And when they're writing it as in a way that it's supposed to, there is an overarching narrative, it feels like maybe, and not all the episodes are directed by the same director. They space them out between various directors. Peyton Reed directed a couple episodes. Dave Filoni directed a couple episodes, as well as a host of others. So it feels like some directors may have gotten a bit of a short shrift on which episodes they got to direct. I don't know. That's more of a minor nitpick than anything else. Also, I will say there is as I said, there is an overarching narrative. However, this may turn you on or turn you off to this season as a whole, and maybe other people have said this as well. The fact that this season overall has a very fetch quest oriented narrative around it, and what I mean by that is the Mando and the child are going from planet to planet trying to find the Jedi so that Mando can hand off the child to the Jedi. That is his quest. However, for the first, I would say, 5 episodes of this 8-episode season, and honestly, others, episode 7 as well, it really revolves around, he goes to a planet, he meets some people, and these people say, okay, I have something you want, I'll help you if you help us with this problem. And that was done a lot in the first season as well, but I feel like this, they were spaced out maybe a little bit better in the first season than this season. And while I didn't necessarily have a problem with it, like I said, I like this episodic narrative as more than the serialized storytelling that a lot of TV shows have. I feel like the spacing could have been better, in my opinion. There was episodes 2 and 3 of this season, I believe, where could be seen as like a back-to-back sort of episode, and that was, you could say that was more interesting as far as spacing that out. But I feel like it's a legitimate complaint to have if you felt that the trope of I'll help you if you help me got a bit old after the first little bit. But overall, I would say that's a minor nitpick, and I would definitely recommend this season. If I was going to give this season a letter grade, I would say I would give The Mandalorian Season 2 a solid B+. It's not the most fantastic season of TV ever, but as far as Star Wars property goes, I would say this is great. And really, my nitpicks, while I do ding the overall score of the season, I would say this season definitely delivered where it counts. And from this point on, I will say this will be a spoiler review going from here on out. So let's get into some spoiler talk on Season 2 of The Mandalorian. And oh my gosh, there was a lot of stuff in this episode. Some things that I personally liked, and some things I personally disliked. And they may be somewhat controversial to some people. For instance, like I said, there were some guest characters in this season, and they may become full-fledged main characters going into Season 3 and beyond, such as Ming Nawain's character, who, as I mentioned her name before, she was a bounty hunter in Season 1. We saw her presumably get killed in the episode of Season 1. However, we saw a mysterious pair of boots approach her body, and so from that, I feel like it was fairly obvious that her story was not entirely done at that point. And so now we see her back, and in the company of one Boba Fett. I believe it was Tamo Morrison, who played Jango Fett in the prequel series, and played all the clones in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and also when Lucasfilm re-released the original trilogy, especially Empire and Return of the Jedi. Although I don't think he actually spoke in Return of the Jedi. Especially Empire, they dubbed over the original voice actor of Boba Fett, who I don't like, but that's neither here nor there. But yes, he is the voice of Boba Fett, and Boba Fett returns in this episode. We don't actually know how he managed to survive getting eaten by the Sarlacc at the end of Return of the Jedi. I know there are comics and books of the extended universe that explain this in much detail. Disney wiped that away. I don't necessarily care. Point is, he's back. A lot of people liked this development because they felt like Boba Fett was one of the coolest characters in the original trilogy, and it can be argued that the look of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian armor, is what really sold the Mandalorian originally as a series, because the Mandalorian armor looks really, really cool. And Boba Fett was the first one to wear that armor. But we see him back, and he's trying to get his armor back. As far as the story goes, I like it. But as far as bringing Boba Fett back in general, I mean, a lot of people like it. I could take it or leave it. I was not a humongous person advocate in favor of bringing Boba Fett back into the series after Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is my favorite of the original trilogy, but I don't think that moment when Boba Fett gets eaten is one of those, like, how dare you moments. It was just kind of, okay, cool. I wasn't that humongously attached to him anyway. That's just me. I know a lot of people out there, and as the story goes, it worked. There were a lot of things in this season that I was afraid might get devolve into things that I wouldn't like as much, but they actually towed the line and made it work. What I mean by that is there are a lot of references in this season to Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, the two animated shows that were produced by Lucasfilm and/or Disney, that play in the background and beyond of Star Wars, and they are officially canon. And that's how we get characters such as Ahsoka Tano and Bo-Katan. They reference events that happened in those shows, and they explain the events in how they in those shows that tie into the events of The Mandalorian in such a way that you don't necessarily have to do homework to figure out what's going on in this series, which is what I like. I don't like being asked to do homework on a series in order to actually, get the show. It shows that the showrunners actually want to keep a wider audience of this show going, and they insert writing in such a way that it keeps people interested, but doesn't make people lost. And even if it keeps people lost for a brief moment, it actually explains it further on down the road. Like the finale actually explained a whole lot of other things that casual viewers like me probably didn't know going into this, when especially things such as the Darksaber and who Bo-Katan is in relation to Ahsoka Tano, and why Bo-Katan really wants the Darksaber. These are things that I think a casual viewer will be able to appreciate without seeing Clone Wars Rebels, and I think that they did a good job on that. There are two other humongous twists or reveals in this season that I think are worth talking about. One is the child actually has a name, and his name is Grogu. I'm still going to call him Baby Yoda. I don't know about you. Grogu, it's like, okay, cool, that's his name. I'm still going to call you Baby Yoda, because that's what we knew all this time, and you built it up as a mystery, but we like our answer better. Sorry, Lucasfilm. I'm not calling him Grogu. Sorry. And the other humongous twist, which, okay, so to set this up, in the finale, when it seems like all hope is lost, on this ship, a lone X-wing flies into this hangar bay on this ship, and our heroes and his band of friends are like, one X-Wing, what are they going to do? I thought they'd been building up, it seemed like they were building up, there was a Rebel pilot in this season that had been shown up at least twice in this season, and I thought that was him popping up again. However, it's just one X-Wing and not the rest of the New Republic, and then the green lightsaber came out. Yes, it is in fact Luke Skywalker after Return of the Jedi. He has come and he pulls a full Darth Vader and Rogue One sort of thing with these dark troopers, and he's just carving them up with his green lightsaber, and I loved every second of it, because as I was watching it, again, I thought it was this pilot from earlier in the season, so it's like, wait, it's not the pilot. It's like, wait, no, yes! That was amazing. And honestly, the de-aging effects that they do on Mark Hamill, I think it looked great. There were a couple instances where there weren't long scenes, but there were a couple shots that maybe didn't look quite great. But overall, compared to Grand Moff Tarkin, he looks great. And I love the fact that they bring him in to this. And to me, this is the great, this is fan service done right. Because fan service done wrong gives us Rise of Skywalker. This is fan service done right, and I think they did an excellent job at that. So, like I said, those are the main spoiler things that I wanted to talk about, and you probably have different opinions on some of these things, but I just wanted to bring them up because, like I said in my spoiler-free thoughts, this was a great season, and the things that I dinged in this season overall, which why I gave it a B+, they don't necessarily hamper my overall enjoyment of the show or the season in particular. Also, the teaser at the the after credit scene in the finale episode teases us that the Book of Boba Fett is going to be coming out next December. I mean, I'll be interested to see it. Like I said, I was not a huge proponent of bringing Boba Fett back, but now that he is, I'm interested to see where they go with this. Though I am kind of concerned that Jabba the Hutt's crime syndicate is taken over really easily, it seems, by two people. I don't care how awesome they are. That seemed a little too easy, but whatever. There are some things that I noticed in this season overall that you may have seen before. And like I said, there was this episode, this season had a lot of what I call fetch quest sort of thing, where it's I'll help you if you'll help me sort of thing. A lot of video games do that as well, but one episode of TV that I thought that pretty much encapsulates this whole phenomena of the I'll help you if you help me thing is an episode of MASH from I believe it was season 2 or 3, entitled For Want of a Boot, where Hawkeye is trying to get a new boot because his boot has a giant hole in it. He has to wait months and months to get it, but he can get it quicker if he helps the supply sergeant. Supply sergeant will help him if he helps. If he can get help from the dentist will help him. If he can get help from the from Colonel Blake will help him. If he helps them with Major Houlihan, and so on and so on and so on, and then it all falls apart at the end. That's just one of my things. That seemed like a perfect encapsulation of that phenomenon as a whole. And also, I'm sure it may have been noted when the Darksaber cropped up in Clone Wars as well, and Rebels as well. I'm sure I'm not the first one to make this comparison, but the fact that Moff Gideon mentions that the Darksaber is the key to ruling Mandalore, gives you the right to rule Mandalore, but it can only be transferred by winning it in rightful combat. That just makes me think of the Elder Wand from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which is Dumbledore's wand that he held the whole time. One of the Deathly Hallows, the most powerful wand in the world, and he thinks that, and because Malfoy defeated Dumbledore, it was his, and then Harry defeated Malfoy, so now Harry actually has it, but Voldemort thinks he owns it, but he didn't understand it, so the Elder Wand wouldn't respond to him. that just made me think of the Elder Wand, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to make that comparison. So, like I said, I almost forgot about that. Those are some things that I noticed that that you may have seen before. What do you think of my analysis? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did I miss anything in this season? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to tune in for my continuing review and reaction series to each and every episode of Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. I'll be doing a review of one of the next episode, which is due to drop on December 24th, Christmas Eve. I'll be trying to get that review to you before that evening. As well as this coming weekend, I will be giving you a review of Wonder Woman 1984. I will be seeing it in a theater. And if there's a theater playing Wonder Woman near you, I highly recommend seeing it in a theater if you can. Again, thank you so much for watching. You guys are the best. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.